Happy Friday, Broncos country. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. Less than 2 weeks away officially from the 2026 NFL Draft, to which the Broncos only have one pick inside the top 100, at least right now. But that does not mean that trades can't be acquired. That doesn't mean that they can't get more picks. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't find good players ultimately. So before we start today's show, quick little question right out of the gates. How many top 3-round picks will Denver end up with? So basically, how many top 100 picks? The top 3 rounds in the NFL draft only go to pick 100. So how many top 100 picks will the Broncos end up with? I'm going to say 2. That is my official prognostication. That is what I am going with. But I'm going to give some shout-outs to the people that are lined up right now, watching us on a Friday. I know that it is kind of a slow time to be a Broncos fan right now, considering the fact that we went 14-3 last year. We don't need a whole lot. That's the truth. We traded for Jaylen Waddle, which is fantastic. But the truth is, their producer, JD, on the ones and twos, the Broncos are just one of those teams where, unfortunately, I hate to say this, kind of have to wait till September. You know what I mean? It's just one of those situations. You know what this reminds me of? Do you remember back in the Patriots days where they were competing for Super Bowls every single year with Tom Brady and all those guys? And it was almost like they didn't really, it's not that they didn't care about the draft, but there wasn't nearly as big of an emphasis on the draft.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's hard to look at the draft, especially when you don't have many holes to fill. The Broncos don't have many holes to fill, especially, so they're not really going to be looking for any starter quality guys at the moment.
I mean, I think they'll look for starters, but I think what the ultimate point here is that they don't need a ton. They need a starting linebacker, right? Because Justin Stronach, Alex Singleton come back, but they need somebody young that could fill in that role.
Actually,
they need a starting tight end.
I would like to see him get an interior defensive lineman.
Yeah, I think I'm coming around to that a little bit more. And you'll see that I have a couple of guys on my sleepers list today that we'll touch on here that are a defensive tackle that I think the Broncos could end up taking. They need a starting linebacker, they need a starting tight end, and they need another rotational running back. And I think that's about it. I mean, you've got 2 starting safeties, so you need safety depth, right? You don't really need that much else. Malcolm Roach is most likely going to start, or Savion Jones at that John Franklin Myers defensive line position. There's really nothing the Broncos need in terms of immediate starters outside of a couple of positions. That's about it. Bo Prods, what's up, brother? Good to see you. He says, I'm going to buy one of those Jaylen Waddle shirts when it's payday next week. Hey, I highly encourage you to. It's super comfortable, super stylish. A lot of people have been sending me their selfies in them on Instagram. Yeah, nice. They've been sending me their selfies of them in their stuff. So make sure whenever you have the chance, snag one. Snag one. HD saying, I'm a longtime fan, but I would just rather wait to see here than endless speculation about the draft. Well, then don't watch any content. That's not trying to be rude. I'm not. Like, if you would just rather wait and see, don't watch any of the videos. Because my job is to give you all of the different options and opportunities the Broncos could explore. And if you don't like that and you just want to see, then okay, that's fine. That's your prerogative.
Gotta have the willpower to not.
Like, that's like, that is the equivalent to me of saying, like, I don't like watching cartoons. Then why'd you put on Cartoon Network?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
I also just put the link for our
Danny!
shop.
What's up, brother? Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, like, if you don't like watching cartoons, don't put on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like watching the cooking channel, don't put on the cooking channel. Like, if you're hungry, don't put on the cooking channel. You know what I mean? That's my job. It doesn't make any sense. Ian Olson saying, huge Nebraska Husker fan and Broncos fan, and I would love to have Emmett Johnson in Denver, but I'm not sure if it's the right fit. I'm not as high on Emmett Johnson as much as I am a guy like Jadarian Price or Mike Washington Jr., I think would be an excellent fit for the Broncos. despite his fumbling problem. Danny Galvin's in the chat. Yeah, I think the three running backs that I'd be very interested for the Broncos, Jadarian Price, Mike Washington Jr., and Jonah Coleman. Those are the three that I think are interesting enough for the Broncos to explore. I got my little Celsius drink in here. It's water, but with the Celsius pack in it because we're hitting that 2:30 feeling, and I'm just kind of like dragging a little bit on a Friday.
Yeah, that midday feeling starting to shut down a little.
No, I mean, Bo Prods, that's okay, man. You don't have to be a huge college football fan to enjoy the draft. And that's the great thing is you can learn. That's the great thing. Like I'm still learning. I learn every day about a new player. Think about how many players there are in the draft to talk about. Doing your homework on every single player is tough when you have to cover your team still. So I have to cover the Broncos, keep up with Broncos news, and I have to do my homework on 200 and something different draft prospects. It's unrealistic. And that's the great thing. You learn as you go along. So I think it's okay to say that you don't know too much about college football. That's totally fine. Chase, what up, brother? What do you think about the Broncos pick up after the draft that is a free agent? So it's funny enough. I do think the Broncos get active. Yeah, it is tough, Bo Prods. It is very tough. I have to cover. Think about how many draft prospects I've had to learn in the last month. It's been crazy. With 2 channels, it's definitely tough. But, I love my job and I love football. So I actually do enjoy all the homework that I get to do. What was I saying? Who do we think the Broncos pick up after the draft? I do think they pick up at least one more free agent. Now, whether that's Cam Jordan, whether that is a Calais Campbell, whether that is, there's plenty of guys that the Broncos could sign. And I've heard from sources that I trust that have said the Broncos will be making moves after the draft. So I don't know who that is yet, but David Njoku, it's a name for sure. Sign Cam Jordan already?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Cam Jordan on this team. My only concern about Cam Jordan is 2023 and 2024, he was bad. He had a combined 6 sacks in those 2 seasons.
Yeah, and he played every single game.
And he played every single game almost. And then, of course, contract year comes up, and he plays out of his mind. Right. So I think he would be a good fit. I'm just worried that you get paid. Do you just kind of take the year off? But then again, it'd be a 1-year deal most likely. So I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see. Cam or Von? Probably at this point, Cam. I know that they've talked about Von Miller coming back, and it just isn't the right fit considering Von probably wants too many snaps. And he doesn't play special teams. I think he would cost less. Cam would cost less than Von, and I think he would demand less. So, less in snaps, I mean. So, I'd probably go at this point Cam Jordan, but I'd also say that I know that Von is going to retire a Bronco, whether that's a 1-day contract or a 10-day contract or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is Cam Jordan a 3-4 end in our system? Yes, but I think what you're going to see a little bit more, Starks, is Malcolm Roach takes that spot a little bit more. I know that he, younger, more versatile. They really love what Malcolm Roach can do. Shout out to Boss Man Jay for putting me on that first. I think Malcolm Roach is going to end up moving to that John Franklin Myers spot and kind of that 3-4 system, that 3-down lineman tech, where he'll show you what he's able to do is not only as a pass rusher but as a run stopper as well. True, Jackson. He doesn't play as well inside as he does as a pure edge. Yeah, Wazurike is a good player there too. I think the Broncos have a plethora of great players to put at that position. You could put Ioma there. You always got to see what Savion Jones has, the rookie that we picked up at LSU last year. Malcolm Roach. There's a 3-player rotation right there that I believe Sean Payton and Vance Joseph are just going to continue to monitor to see who's the best fit there. Honey Bear, what's up? Good to see you. Hey, do me a favor. Let's hit that thumbs up icon. Let's get to 30 likes before we start today's show. Thoughts on drafting Kalen Rutledge? I'd have to do, he's been quiet. He only played 33 snaps last year. I'd have to do more of my homework on Kalen Rutledge. You almost bought a JFM jersey. You bought a Zach Wilson jersey? Oh, boy. Do I think Tyler Bidet will go to the practice squad? Yep, I do. I think both Bidet and I honestly could see Jaleel go into the practice squad. I think they like Bidet's pass protection a little bit too much. If they carry 4, they might only carry 3 and keep 2 running backs on the practice squad. I could see that being a thing. I could see them carrying an extra receiver this year. Instead of keeping, they keep 5 last year, or was it 6 with Sherfield? Let's see, at the beginning of last year it was Cortland Sutton, Pat Bryant, Trent Sherfield, Marvin Mims. Did I say Troy Franklin already?
No.
Troy Franklin. So they did keep 5, I think. And then they brought in Lil Jordan. So halfway through the year. We'll see. I think they might carry 6 wide receivers. And who knows? Yeah. If they draft Eli Stowers, he could end up moving to wide receiver. There's a lot of people that say he's got the same build and makeup of Mike Evans. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they list him as.
How do I feel about Najee Harris? I don't think he's a great fit for the Broncos. I mean, power back, sure, but why would you go sign Najee when you can draft a running back? You know what I mean? Keep him on your team for a while, and you wouldn't have to pay him as much. I don't think the Broncos draft a running back until at least round 3. At least round 3. Might be round 3, might be round 4. Yeah. Anthony Hill Jr. is a good player. I don't think the Broncos want to draft a linebacker in round 2. I think they want to draft one in round 4. This is one of the deepest linebacker drafts in a long time. Super deep linebacker draft. All right, let's talk about what we've got cooking up for you on today's show. I've got a nice little draft show for you guys today. Let's start with the Denver Broncos sleeper picks. Some players that I think are going under the radar right now that the Broncos could definitely find a lot of value in as immediate starters. Followed by some Broncos insider, one particular one, slipping some info about what the Broncos plan to do on day 2 of the NFL draft. And then, of course, mock draft 3.0 from Moose. I'm not the biggest mock draft guy, especially. Well, I am. Pause. Let me rephrase that. I'm a big mock draft guy, not for a team that goes 14-3 and brings back 95% of their team. So I feel like mock drafts for Broncos fans it kind of feels like unnecessary because we already know who majority of the team is.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a couple of players here and there. But I will give you my 3rd mock draft officially. I think I'll do 2 more before we're done. I think I'll do a reaction mock draft for like ESPN or something, and I'll give you my final mock draft the week of the draft. So I think I'll give you 2 more draft. I'll do 5 total ones. Appreciate that, Starks. I just try to give you my unfiltered and truthful opinion. Sometimes you got to look beyond the fandom, and I love the Broncos, man. I firmly believe that I'm a Broncos homer, but I also can step back a little bit and take a look around and say, wasn't that good here, wasn't that good there, got to get better here, but this is a great team. This is a really good team, and I'm excited for next year. 2 more likes. Hit that thumbs up icon. We can't start till we hit 30 likes. We got 71 people in the building. 2 more likes. 2 more likes. Come on. 1 more. There we go. Wow, we smoked it. We're back up to 40. Yeah, we're up by 4. We're up to 40. All right, cool. Let's talk about the Broncos sleeper picks. Some players that I truly believe are under the value and under the radar players right now that not a lot of people are talking about that the Broncos could have immediately and would be immediate contributors or at least rotational contributors right away. You ready, my friend? All right, let's do this. Yep, let's do this. One of my favorite things to talk about during draft season are the players that are sliding under the radar for most teams. You know, the players that don't get a lot of love in the national spotlight from all the guys like Mel Kiper, Daniel Jeremiah, all the NFL draft pundits. So today, I thought I would do my due diligence and talk to you about some of the Broncos draft sleepers that I think we could add that can either A, be an immediate starter, or B, be a really nice rotational player to eventually take over a starting position. I think that starts by going over what we have in terms of our draft picks right this moment. This is obviously subject to change. The Broncos could at any point decide to trade up or trade down, depending on what they feel is necessary. So we've got a second, 2 fourths, a fifth, and then 3 sevenths, with 256 and 257 being the penultimate and Mr. Irrelevant picks in the draft. I also know that it's kind of a funny coincidence here that with only one pick inside of the top 100, it might feel like every player is a sleeper because we're not getting any blue chip players. You know what I mean? It's kind of a oxymoron in that way, but I don't want to overthink this. So I just want to talk on the surface about players that I truly believe are going to be sleeper picks in this upcoming draft that the Broncos could take. And before we start, if you have tried to find other draft content, like if you've gone to websites or gone to different online articles and you have to sit behind a paywall in order to read an article or watch a video, trust me when I say this, I hate it just as much as you do. That's why the Broncos Breakdown is free and it will always be free. So if you want nonstop free content, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Our goal is 30 subscribers on today's episode. Without further ado, let's get into our Broncos sleepers. This is going to be a first pick off the board, DeMond Claiborne, running back from Wake Forest. And this is a name that I recently came across, and a lot of people are starting to get a little bit higher on him based off of what the tape shows. And his tape is unbelievable. He's the 7th-ranked running back on Dane Brugler's The Beast, 5'10", 195 pounds, and played for Wake Forest last year. A little bit about him and his profile: patient at the line of scrimmage. He's got unreal patience and uses his shifty and lateral quickness to find his holes. He's got such awesome burst. Goes from 0 to 60 in the blink of an eye, which is exactly what you want at the next level. And he could also help in the special teams as a kick or a punt returner if we wanted to shift Marvin Mims to a more wide receiver role. But 26.3 yards as a featured kick returner in the 2023-2024 season. But how were his numbers, Moose? I'm glad you asked. 179 carries, 900 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, averaging a little bit over 5.1 yards per carry. There's a lot of people that expect that he's going to go between rounds 3 and rounds 5. So look for right around that 4th round draft stock, but the advanced profile doesn't lie. He's got awesome special teams ability, impressive lateral agility, straight line speed, elusiveness in the open field, reliable hands as a wide receiver, and 26 career rushing touchdowns. Where does all of this come into play as to why he's dropped to the 4th? He's small. He's slight of frame, and there's a lot of people that believe that if he gets hit immediately at the line of scrimmage, he's going down. But if he can find a hole, trust me when I say this, you cannot catch this guy. You know who he kind of reminds me of? A lower calorie Devon Achane. That's kind of his play style. He's a little bit smaller, not quite as explosive in the sense of like talent-wise, but you basically get a light version of Devon Achane. And I think if you added that to the steady Eddie of J.K. Dobbins, the scat back of R.J. Harvey, and then you added a player like DeMond Claiborne, I think that's a very, very good complementary trio right there of running backs in this room. It could also be a Jadarian Price kind of pivot in the event that you didn't want to pay a premium for Price, who's probably going to go in the 2nd round. So Price, same thing, great special teams player, awesome running back, great burst, all the things that you would want out of a rotational, immediate running back in the 2nd round. But you could get Claiborne in a much later round. So that could be a nice little pivot from Notre Dame's Jadarian Price. Let's move on to the defensive side of the football. Rashawn Benny from the University of Michigan. Look, Benny is a player that I think has a lot of potential to be not only just like a good starter, but like an excellent starter. I do have some concerns, and I'll tell you what those are here in just a second. But 6'4", 305 pounds. He's a big boy. 12th ranked defensive tackle on Dane Brugler's The Beast. He's unbelievably powerful. He's got tons of strength at his disposal. Uses his full extension really well to stack and find the football. He's got very active hands, so blockers aren't going to win a lot on him because he's excellent with his hands, but he is inconsistent with his strength and can be moved by double teams. So while he does show a lot of strength, there's a lot of inconsistency in his play. And Brugler brought that up almost immediately when talking about him. He said, Benny isn't the sum of his parts, but his athletic twitch with the size and the arm length to be disruptive at the pro level has the talent to see the field as a rookie while an NFL staff coaches the rest out of him. And look, the numbers don't pop off immediately to you. He'd be an immediate run stopper, which I like, but I also know that fit-wise for the Broncos, he'd most likely sit behind DJ Jones. Most likely. The Broncos love to run that 3 technique, right? They love to run Zach Allen, DJ Jones, and either going to be Savion Jones or Malcolm Roach or whomever starts at that spot. But this would be a rotational, like if you're going to stack the box and run a different defensive personnel, you'd bring in Rashawn Benny to stop the run immediately. And one thing I will say about him is he's also a lot faster than a lot of people give him credit for. What's the one thing Vance Joseph loves in his defense? Speed, quick pressure, guys that can get back to whatever their assignment is quickly. And Rashawn Benny had one of the highest amount of quick pressures for a defensive tackle in the entire college football landscape. He was actually number 8 out of all of them, and believe it or not, it's tied for, 6th? So with Lee Hunter, who's the second-round projection, and Grayson Halton. So I think Rashawn Benny could be a really nice rotational player at any point for any team, but specifically for the Broncos, this could be a player that they bring in to immediately stop the run. And we know that Vance obviously values speed on his defense. We are one of the fastest defenses in the entire NFL. Who is your sleeper in this year's NFL draft? Do me a favor, let me know in the live chat down below or in the comment section down below if you're watching during our regularly scheduled programming. I don't know that I have one specific one at this point, but maybe you do. So you let me know, like I said, down in the comment section down below. Well, I let you know that we've got plenty of deals going on right now for our store. If you want to get in on all the latest gear, and I'm rocking my Mile High Waddle coming to an end zone near you. If you want to get that shirt in black like I'm wearing or navy, like you can get in another color scheme, plus other t-shirts like Best in the West t-shirts, hoodies, you name it, we've got constant updates to this store, and we will have plenty coming up, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, during the draft. So do me a favor, go to chatsports.com/bbshop or use the link that I put in the comments and description of today's video. Flip back over to the offensive side of the ball really quick. This is a round 2 pick, in my opinion. This would be like a sleeper, but maybe not necessarily a sleeper for where you take him. Maxi Honachor from Arizona State. This might be one of the highest upside offensive tackles in the entire NFL. And we know that ESPN just came out and said exactly what we know. The Broncos could explore a tackle at pick number 62. That was the report that came out with yesterday. If you haven't seen it, go over to ESPN, take a look. But Honachor is 6'6", 330 pounds. Incredibly raw, and the 7th-ranked offensive tackle on the Beast. But lightning quick hands and great functional strength. So 2 of the things that you need to play tackle at the next level, he's got. He made clear improvements using his technique. That was one of his biggest problems, was he wasn't a very technically sound player, but made definite strides there. And his strike accuracy in pass pro, meaning when he gets his hands on a opposing edge rusher or defensive lineman, it's all over the place. So he is definitely raw. There's no doubt about that. But what you get as a prospect, what you get as a developmental piece who could sit behind Garrett Bowles, who could sit behind Mike McGlinchey, is something that I believe is untapped. And he also had a lot of penalties last year. So you really have to coach this guy. But Sean Payton's one of the best offensive minds in the game. If there's a guy that I trust to coach up any position on the offensive side of the ball, it's Sean Payton. And like I told you, going back to just 25 seconds ago or 30 seconds ago, ESPN writers are already telling you that the Broncos could target a tackle in round 2. Bowles is going to be 34. McGlinchey's 31. At some point, you have to think about the replacements. A succession plan has to be put into place at some point. Andy Hanachor is, by the way, crazy cool name, right? But also, his advanced profile speaks for itself. Blocking on the move, he checks it off. He fires out of his stance lightning quick. He's got elite athleticism. He understands angles, proper pad levels, 78.3 passing block grade. I mean, the guy has so much talent to work with. And he impressed during the Senior Bowl. It's just a matter of refining the skills, and he won't be a starter year 1. He'll be a backup player that will, come in a pinch if he needs to. And his mocks are all over the place. I've seen him going as high as the first round, late first. I've seen him going as low as the third. And nobody can seem to quite figure out where he exactly is going to go. It's just a matter of what team wants to take a swing on him. There is a chance he lands to the Broncos at 62. There's a chance that he goes in the first round. I don't know. All I know is, from a pure talent perspective, he has the highest upside of any tackle in this entire draft. Who's my final sleeper? Let's actually go to a big late pick for me. A quarterback? Haynes King from Georgia Tech? Hear me out. There's a reason I have Haynes King on this list. Let's go back to March 30th for a second, just 2 weeks ago. The Broncos hosted Wyoming tight end Evan Svoboda, who is actually a quarterback in 2024. And if you remember what Sean Payton did during his time in New Orleans with Taysom Hill, that was a quarterback who turned into a tight end. So obviously the Broncos can see some striking similarities here to Taysom Hill. Well, why not go with a guy that could literally be Taysom Hill 2.0? That's Haynes King. He's the only Power 4 quarterback in 2025 with 5 games of 100 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. He's got a natural fit in any locker room. Believe it or not, one of our Chat Sports producers went to high school with him and said that he's unbelievably cerebral. He's so smart. He's nice. He's a great locker room fit, and he's perhaps the toughest player in this entire draft. He craves physical contact, and the violent kind, if you catch my drift. He plays with tenacity. He wants to be an NFL football player. He screams Taysom Hill to me. That's exactly who this guy is. And we all know that there's one coach in the league that can deal with a player like this. Sean Payton. So I think Haynes King, if we drafted him as Mr. Irrelevant, I think that would be an immediate, we got to see what kind of packages this guy could get. But the numbers speak for themselves. He had 953 rushing yards last year. Threw for almost 3,000 yards. Completed about 70% of his passes. I'm not even saying that you couldn't complete a couple of passes for him this next year. But there's so many different opportunities to use Haynes King. And why not think about moving him to tight end at some point? You put some weight on him. You get him in the weight room a little bit. You can move him as a tight end, a quarterback, an athlete. You could bring him in on 3rd and 1 packages, sub packages. There's so many different ways to use a player like Haynes King. And there's only one coach in the NFL that uses this term, the Joker, and that's Sean Payton. This could be your next Joker. That could be your next Joker. So do me a favor, if you love all the content, subscribe to the channel. It's free. It'll always be free. No paywall. It's not going to cost you $300 and something bucks a year like ESPN Plus does. Just make sure that you're subscribed for your favorite team's news, rumors, everything in between right here on the Broncos Breakdown. All right, that's all I got for you on this sleeper episode of Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. I'll be back a little bit later on with some more news and rumors surrounding your Denver Broncos. As always, a quick little mile-high salute. Be cool. What do you guys think? Any one of those sleepers that you like? You can put up that player 4 rank real quick. What do you guys think? Am I not? Are they talking in there, or am I a little bit late on? I'm not saying anything either. It's been a very quiet chat recently. Yeah, I haven't seen anything either. Any one of these guys that you think you would take? Let me know. Max? Yeah, I think Max Ahanachor is a hell of a player. Hell of a player. But I don't know that he'll be there. That's the crazy thing about Max, guys, is like every mock that you see him in, some people have him going like 28 or 29. Others have him going, like 90. It's just all over the place. You like Benny? Yeah, I think Benny's a good player too. Out of all of these players, I think the least ready to start would be Rashawn Benny, but he'll be a really good player. Least ready to start on the Broncos, I mean. He'll start pretty much anywhere else that he goes, but I don't know that he'll... Who is calling me? Oh, spam risk. I was like, who is calling me right now? When would be able to grab Benny? Probably the 4th. I've seen a lot of people saying that he could go as high as the 3rd and as low as the 5th. Most people have him mocked to the 4th, so that's probably where I think. You can bring back full screen real quick. All right, let's talk about our next upcoming segment here. Running back insurance. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad about that either, Honey Bear. I think that'd be all right. Mike Kliss slipped some information about what the Broncos are going to do on day 2, and I think it's pretty telling. I think what he told you was not blunt, or was very blunt. It was not, what's the word I'm looking for? Subtle at all. It was very, like, I think this is exactly what the Broncos are going to do. So I'm excited to share with you what he said and who I think the Broncos could take on this this little interesting tidbit. Go back to, oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, let's do this. Got to show some love to my guy, Mike Kliss, who recently dropped some Broncos information surrounding the 2026 NFL draft that I thought was pretty telling. I mean, it was not subtle at all. It was pretty much just right in your face. This is exactly what he believes the Broncos are going to do. And I'm going to share that information with you coming up on this episode of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Welcome in. Just a quick little reminder for you guys about what our current draft picks look like, because that's where all this information stems from. Second round pick, number 62 overall. 4th rounders, 2 fourths, believe it or not, 108 and 111. And then we got a 5th and then 3 7ths. So there's a lot of opportunities here to move up in the draft. Let's just say that. And Mike Kliss thinks so too. His exact quote was very, very blunt. Here it is. He said, I think the hole that they want to fill is in the 3rd round. That's still a starter round. I would actually be surprised if they only had 1 pick on day 2. So it's pretty much widely assumed right now that, yes, Denver wants a round 3 pick. This is something I told you a couple of days ago. I'm like, the more and more that I'm reading, the more and more that I'm hearing, the more and more that I'm having conversations with other Broncos content creators, they all agree unanimously. The Broncos would want to get that 3rd round pick back. Now, how you get that pick is a completely different story. And we'll touch on that here in just a moment. But before we do that, you got to know when we go live, because we will be live for all 3 days of the draft. And if you are going to be one of those people that loves the draft and you want to see where all the other Broncos fans are congregating right here, step 1 is you got to subscribe. And step 2 is hit that bell icon and select the all option and never miss a time that we post anything, mainly when we do, in fact, go live. So back to that, how you get that 3rd round pick, as I take a sip of my water here from my Broncos mug, or tumbler, I should say. It's not a mug. The first thing that you do is you could combo your picks with, you can combo your fourth with another pick. So if you didn't want to move a player whatsoever, you could combo one of your fourths that you have this year with either another pick from this draft or another pick from the 2027 draft and try to, make something happen with that. You could trade a player, but Broncos country hates when I talk about trading away any of our players. So we'll probably stay away from that on this episode. And you could always just trade away one pick from the 2027 draft. That's entirely possible. But if we go back to what George Paton gave us a hint about, which is, hey, we are thinking about maybe potentially trading up at some point, to the fact where Mike Klis just came out and told you exactly what they're thinking, it is pretty much widely assumed that Denver will try to get up into the third round after losing it in the Jaylen Waddle trade. So, what is my solution for getting back into the third round? Glad you asked. Here you go. I have us trading with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Tampa gets our 2026 fourth, number 108, and a conditional fifth-round pick next year that could turn into a fourth. So it's basically like a fourth and a half right now. You get a fourth this year, potentially a fourth next year, and we get pick number 77 in this year's draft. Okay, so now the Broncos have pick 62 and pick 67, or 77. Excuse me. Who could they possibly take at pick number 77, which is squarely right in the middle of round 3? I've highlighted 3 players that I think the Broncos would seriously have interest in. There's a lot of players that could go in round 3, but here's the 3 that I think are going to be honed in on specifically by the Broncos. The first one on this list is Mike Washington Jr. from Arkansas. He's a running back, and boy, is he electric. He is so damn fast. Like, one of the fastest running backs in this entire draft class. 6'2", 223 pounds. He's got great size, and he's the third-ranked running back right now on Dane Brugler's The Beast board. So he's got the talent, and he's got the speed. Ran a 4.33 at the Combine this year. That's one fast hog, man. I'll tell you what. But one thing about Mike Washington that everybody continues to bring up to me is, well, he's got a fumbling problem. Yeah, he does, and that is a problem. But you can always work on ball security. There's a bunch of different drills that you can do. I mean, hell, look, we put oven mitts and boxing gloves on Riley Moss last year to help him stop grabbing at people's jerseys to help with the penalty problem. There's ways to makeshift these issues. The tape, though, doesn't lie. He's a home run swing. 167 carries last year, 1,000 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, essentially, and 8 touchdowns. When this guy gets out into open space, good luck catching him. He will leave you in the dust. Get ready to learn what his shoes look like, because that's all you're going to be seeing from the back end. And his advanced numbers prove a lot of awesome, awesome characteristics as well. First of all, that 6.4 yards per carry was third in his respective class. 515 breakaway yards was also third, and 30 runs of 10-plus yards was also third. This guy is Hollywood. He's going to be a very, very good player, and if he can minimize the fumbles, he is going to be an excellent player. There are also other teams that are high on Mike Washington Jr. as well. Matt Barrows is an athletic writer for the San Francisco 49ers, and he says, and I quote, "I heard that they," meaning the 49ers, "are doing a lot of work on Mike Washington, who might be the third best running back in this draft." So it's not like you would be competing for a player that nobody wants. This is somebody that could hold a lot of value for a team that wants another explosive running back. And I think Mike Washington is that explosive running back. Plus, we all know the Broncos want a three-headed monster, right? Dobbins comes in. He's your steady Eddie type of player at age number 27. And R.J. Harvey now entering year 2, now at age 25. He's your scat back. And Mike Washington Jr. coming in at 22 years old. So this could end up becoming your J.K. Dobbins replacement at some point. This could be an excellent three-headed monster for the Broncos, and I'd have no problem saying that whatsoever. All right, number 2, Josiah Trotter. I've gone back and forth about Josiah Trotter. I don't deny that there's talent there, because there certainly is. I don't know that it's the right fit for the Broncos, but I'll do my due diligence here. So Field Yates has the Broncos selecting Trotter at number 62 in his most recent mock draft, by the way. So take that for what you will. There's people that say that he could go as high as the second, but it's more likely that he's going to end up going in the third. All the mocks I've seen have him going in the third outside of Yates's. But Yates is very, very high on Trotter, and here's what he had to say about him with the Broncos. He said, Denver made its big splash to add Jaylen Waddle, a move that was logical in part because the roster had so few limitations. Inside linebacker is an area to continue to add after Dre Greenlaw couldn't provide a boost this past season and was cut. Trotter is one of my favorite fits in this round. He's a tough, hard-nosed, and instinctive run defender in traffic who could slide into coordinator Vance Joseph's defense. And there's no denying that Yates is absolutely correct. In terms of his run diagnosis, he might be the best linebacker in the draft. I firmly agree with that. Like, that is beyond truthful. But as fast as a processor as he can be in the run game, its coverage is his clear weakness. He's not a good coverage backer. And the one area the Broncos need is a good coverage linebacker. That's the biggest problem. Alex Singleton is great at diagnosing the run. Justin Stranad is better in pass coverage, but it's not what he's absolutely known for. And we haven't seen Lavelle Bailey be activated anytime soon. So Josiah Trotter feels like another version of Alex Singleton. Old school linebacker style play. Rough, tough, mean, at the line, diagnoses the run, hard hitting. You name it, Trotter can hit it, and he'll hit it hard. And he has a lot of really good numbers. I won't deny that. In 2024, 92 total tackles at West Virginia, and then transfers to Mizzou, where he explodes onto the scene in tackles for loss. Not an incredible blitzer, but we don't really need him to be. He had 1 PBU, no INTs. His coverage stats are not good, guys, at all. 108.6 opposing passer rating given up. This is my concern with Trotter, is he's just not the right fit. And as good of a player as I think he will be, a team that needs him is someone that is weak at the linebacker spot, that needs a rough and tough old school mentality. Not great in coverage spells, not a great fit for the Broncos. But I will also be honest with you, there's not a great amount of great coverage linebackers on day 2 anyway. You know, Sonny Styles is fantastic in coverage. You can't get Sonny Styles. You know what I mean? So, you know, at this point, beggars can't really be choosers. So would I be upset that the Broncos take Josiah Trotter? Probably not. But I do think it's someone that they have their eye on in round 3. I've got my eye on, though, on one of these shirts. In fact, I own this shirt. I also own this shirt that I'm wearing. And I got all of these from our Broncos Breakdown merch store. So do me a favor, go to chatsports.com/bbshop. If you want to get the best shirts, if you want to get the best hats, if you want to get the best jerseys at some point, I think we'll be adding some of those, you got to do me a favor and click on the link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video, chatsports.com/bbshop. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. So all you have to do is click on it. All right. Our final selection in round 3 that I believe the Broncos could have interest in. Justin Jolly. Another player that I'm on the fence with. But again, I have to do my homework and my job as the Broncos host to explore all of the players the Broncos could have interest in, not just the players that Moose has interest in. So let's talk about Jolly, because I do see his name continuously popping up for the Broncos as a target. Justin Jolly plays for North Carolina State, the Wolfpack for the ACC, I believe. And they're just not, they're a middle tier college football program. Not great, not bad. But who is Justin Jolly? Well, he's a big target. There's no doubt about that, and he's athletic as hell. He looks like a big wide receiver, believe it or not, kind of like Eli Stowers in that sort of characteristic. And he's got great focus, and his contested catchability is sensational. But he's got average height, average length, and won't have an size advantage over NFL linebackers. So I don't know if I said he's got great height or not. He doesn't. He does not. It's average. It's average at best. I don't know why I said that. But anyway, what he is really awesome in is his contested catch rate. He has a 71.4% success rate on contested windows. That is insane. So what he lacks in his height and what he lacks in his size is his ability to be strong and physical, right? So you make up for that lack of size with that physicality that he plays with. And Dane Brugler notes that immediately when describing Justin Jolly. He said Jolly is a versatile pass catcher because of his athleticism, ball skills, and upside as a 3-level threat, built in the mold of Jonnu Smith, but he's more of a Robin than he is a Batman, and ideally suited as a move tight end in a 12 personnel offense. And that's exactly right. Robin, not Batman. He's not a needle mover. And that's how I feel about him. It'd just be another tight end that the Broncos would take. I don't see a whole lot of tremendous ceiling for him. He might have a very high floor, right? There's no basement here, but it's like a one-story house. You know, what you see is what you get. He'll be a fine NFL tight end for his career. He'll be most likely, in my opinion, a tight end too, pretty much everywhere he goes. But again, you can't deny the athleticism. You cannot deny the physicality, and you cannot deny the strength going up against bigger body defenders. So if you had to pick your Broncos third-round draft target, who would it be? If they get back into the third round, assuming. For me, it's Mike Washington. I would be over the moon if we drafted Mike Washington. That would be a hell of a player to add to this team. So you let me know in the comment section down below or the live chat of today's video. Okay, we are almost out of here, but before we do that, two-step process. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon. Make sure that you never miss a time that we go live. As always, Broncos country, a quick little mile-high salute to you. Be cool. Bang! I love Eli Stowers. I hope he falls too. There's a lot of people that are now saying that he could go in the third because everybody is they are so primarily focused on the tight end label. They see his position, they see tight end, and they say, well, he needs to be able to block perfectly. That's not his game. He'll be a better blocker as he gets more into the NFL, but you wouldn't draft him to be a blocker. You draft him to be another weapon. And that's why I love him so much. He reminds me of Mike Evans and Trey McBride. Yeah. Kind of like molded into his own player. That's who it's who he reminds me of.
I feel like that's kind of what the tight end position is starting to become over the years. Just more of a
look at Kyle Pitts.
Just a bigger sized wide receiver.
Yeah, the best tight ends in the league can do both, right? The best tight ends in the league can do both. But look at Travis Kelce. Was Travis Kelce ever known as a amazing blocker? No. He was a slot tight end, but he became one of the best tight ends in NFL history. So you don't need someone to be an insane blocker, even if he is a tight end. He's so big and versatile that you can't really label him as one or the other. He's just kind of his own player. He's just big. How about that? He's big.
He is. Well, that was one thing. I think he's taller than Eli, or not. I was about to say his name. I think he's taller than Sadiq.
He is taller than Sadiq. Sadiq's 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, but Sadiq's heavier.
Yes, Sadiq's got the size advantage.
Yeah,
like the physical weight advantage.
And it's crazy to think because at least to me, I feel like that much weight wouldn't make that much of a difference, but I guess it does.
I mean, I think. Because what is Stowers? 239?
I'm looking right now on the Beast because
I'm going to say 239.
I personally if I'm looking for what I'm looking for in my tight ends, I'm personally looking for more height than anything. I mean, if I don't mind getting a tight end that's 15 pounds lighter if they're
Well,
3,
look,
4 inches taller.
so I'll say this.
With a
If the
wider
Broncos
wingspan.
want a legitimate Y tight end, somebody that plays in line, can block, can also go out and catch the ball really well, Sam Roush is their choice.
Yeah.
But he's not as explosive as Eli Stowers. Stowers is so explosive. Like, he's going to be
Oh, actually.
he's going to be Kyle Pitts-esque or Trey McBride-esque. You know, that's your comp. But Roush reminds me of Brenton Strange. So, like, smooth athlete, big body, can block, actual tight end. You know, legitimate tight end.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at their weights. Actually, Stowers is only 2 pounds lighter than Sadiq. But then, yeah, what you're saying, Roush is 267.
Yeah, he's huge. He's 6'6", 267. He's massive.
Damn near 30 pounds
Yeah,
heavier
but he's
than
just
both
not
of
as
them.
explosive. But, I mean, if you really wanted the traditional tight end, Roush is the guy you got to go
Yeah,
get.
and he's still-
I'd like them both. My number one
and
is
he towers over both.
my
of them.
number one is Stowers. My number 2 is Roush. Assuming we can't get Kenyon Sadiq, right?
Yeah.
All right, last bit of cuts here for you guys. We have got a final Moose mock draft. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up or a yes in the live chat if you're ready for the Moose mock draft 3.0. What's up, Perk? Good to see you. It's his name, Perk. Josh, what up, dude? Simpy says yes, King. QB Easy says yes. All right, let's do this. Hopefully some Iowa guys from Chase Paton. All right, let's do this. Ba-da-dong, ba-da-dong, dong, dong. All right, mock draft 3.0 time from your guy Moose. And what I like to call my most accurate Broncos mock draft yet. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. I am your host. Spoiler alert, I'm just going to let you know right out of the gates, I got trades in this mock draft because I do believe the Broncos are going to trade. Not just once, but twice in this mock draft. So I think to give you guys the most accurate Broncos mock trade or mock draft, I have to give you the trades that I would think the Broncos would end up doing in said mock draft. Are we catching up here so far? Good. I'm glad. If you're ready for the Broncos draft to officially begin, though, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up icon. Show me that you are ready to lock in with other Broncos fans as the best fan base in the NFL to see exactly what our team adds to its roster. Speaking of, we've got seven total picks right now. I almost said 8, but 7 total picks. Second rounder, 2 fourths, a fifth, and 3 sevenths, with 256 and 257 being the penultimate and Mr. Irrelevant picks in this year's draft. I also want to be very clear about this because I think this is a very important note to share with you guys. Many NFL pundits agree unanimously that the teams might not have to give up nearly as much draft capital this year because of the lack of the faith in this draft. It's what's known as a buyer's market. Meaning, to move up to certain positions, you would not have to give up nearly as much as you would in previous drafts. And I think that's a big advantage for the Broncos, who don't necessarily have a premium pick. They've got number 62. They probably want to get back into the third. You'll see what I mean coming up here in just a minute. But let's get into the draft itself. With number pick 62, the Denver Broncos select Eli Stowers. Tight end from Vandy. Again, I'm back on my BS. You guys know it. I am all about Eli Stowers. I think he is the tight end of the future. When it comes to his ability to be a weapon, there is nobody else in college football that I would trust more. And that is even including a guy like Kenyon Sadiq. I mean, Eli Stowers, yards per route run last year, was number 1 in college football amongst tight ends. Above guys like Sadiq, Claire, Jolly, Trigg. Stowers towered over them in that category. And last year, you saw the talent on display. 769 yards receiving, almost 12.5 per catch, 4 touchdowns, only 4 drops, 62 receptions. I know there's been a lot of talk about him not being able to be a tight end because of his lack of blocking ability. He is a willing blocker. He's not a great blocker, but you don't need him to be an excellent blocker. You would be getting him to be a weapon because he reminds me exactly of Trey McBride. A lot of people have been saying Mike Evans. I see Trey McBride. And if you don't believe me, I did a side-by-side comparison of their profiles. I can tell you without hesitation, they are almost the exact same player. Both 6'4". Stowers is 7 pounds lighter than McBride. He's faster than McBride. His combine score was 3 points lower than McBride and 0.7 lower on his prospect score. If he could be even 90%, 80%, 70% of Trey McBride, that is one hell of an NFL tight end. That is a top 10 tight end in the NFL. Stowers is my guy. I've planted my flag. You know how I feel about him. I'm riding with Stowers as my round 2 pick, I should say. Uh-oh, there's the first trade. Here we go. Broncos third round trade. Yep, if you were here for the live show, here is the trade that I made earlier. I think this is most accurate to what I think the Broncos can end up doing. The Buccaneers would end up getting one of our 4ths this year and a conditional 5th next year. Or it's a 5th, but a conditional 4th next year. So basically 2 4ths, depending on however they worked out the contract language. And the Broncos get a third round pick, number 77. So I think we would trade with the Buccaneers to get pick number 77. They get a 4th and a next year's conditional 4th as well. And who do we select at pick number 77? Denver Broncos select Mike Washington, running back from Arkansas. So now we've addressed tight end, and we're addressing running back, 2 of the Broncos' needs. Mike Washington is perhaps one of the fastest players in this entire draft. And he's got the size advantage, too. 6'2", 223 pounds. Got a bit of a fumbling problem right now, but we'll address that a little bit later on. The third-ranked running back on Brugler's The Beast board, which I trust as probably the most accurate draft, PDF file and consummation of draft knowledge out there on the internet. One fast hog, brother, I'll tell you that. 4.33 at the combine this year. Lightning fast. If he gets out in front of you, you can't catch him. There's no way. He's just too athletic. He's too good. His breakaway speed is just too insane. And last year, with a running quarterback, mind you, Jaylen Green is a running quarterback, he was still able to average 6.5 carries and get over 1,000 yards. With Jaylen Green having at least 5 to 6 rushing attempts himself. So consider he probably should have gotten at least another 50 carries onto this and probably would have been well over 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. But I digress. The advanced numbers also don't lie. 6.4 yards per carry, which was 3rd in his class. 515 breakaway yards, 3rd in his class. 30 runs of 10-plus yards, 3rd in his class. This is the 3-headed monster between J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, and then Mike Washington. I think, personally, between him and Jadarian Price, it's a toss-up. And if you wanted to wait till the 3rd round to get a player like Mike Washington, you absolutely could. And by the way, every mock that I've seen has him going in the 3rd. Matt Barrows, by the way, a athletic writer for San Francisco, said that San Francisco was doing a lot of homework on Mike Washington, so they're interested as well. But he also says that he might be the 3rd best running back in this draft after Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, both from the University of Notre Dame. All right, moving on to round 4. Pick number 111, because we gave up number 108. Red Murdoch, linebacker from Buffalo. Who? Who is this moose? One of the biggest sleepers and diamonds in the rough in this entire draft. Red Murdoch, 6'3", 240 pounds, played at the University of Buffalo, 12th ranked linebacker on the Beast board. Why would I have him going in the 4th round? Why would the Broncos want him? Well, he is unbelievably athletic, incredibly fast flowing player who makes a ton of plays. Nose for the football is an understatement with this player. Just wait till you see how many tackles this guy has had over the last 2 seasons. Needed just 3 years, by the way, to force an FBS record for fumbles forced. 17. He is insane. when he hits you. He wants you to cough up that football immediately. Now, he doesn't have the ideal arm length for the position, but when you see the ball production that this guy was able to give you, just take a look at the numbers. 2025, 142 tackles, 13.5 for loss. And in 2024, 156 tackles. That is right under 300 tackles in 2 seasons. 30 tackles for loss and 13 forced fumbles in 2 seasons. Talk about your productivity, my friends. Holy cow. So where does the advanced profile come into play? Tone setter in physicality. Hits hard, fast-moving player. Exactly what Vance Joseph would be looking for. NCAA record of 17 forced fumbles. Nobody else holds that number outside of him. He's a record holder. Quick to diagnose and react. 91.3 run defense grade in 2025 and a non-stop motor. Everything about him screams Denver Bronco. Everything about him. He's a diamond in the rough. The only concern that I've got is the arm length. It might affect his ability to wrap up. That's it. I love everything else about him and the fact that he didn't play against the best competition. Outside of that, there's really nothing that I see as a bad amount of play. I think Red Murdoch is easily one of the biggest sleepers in this entire draft. You know what else is a sleeper? This Broncos Breakdown t-shirt. Seriously, my wife uses it to sleep in sometimes. But I will admit this. If you want some awesome deals surrounding your favorite t-shirts and merch gear like the one that I'm wearing right now, just do me a favor and go to chatsports.com/BBshop. Best in the West t-shirts, best in the West hoodies, hats, shirts, you name it, we've got it. Click on that link, by the way, down in the comment section down below if you want to just start your shopping immediately. Let's go to round 5, pick number 170. Jude Bowry, tackle from Boston College. So now we've attacked that offensive tackle spot, too, that ESPN talked about a little bit. But one of the players that I feel like a lot of Broncos fans have kind of been on is Jude Bowry, because even guys like Luka Evans have him being mocked to the Broncos. Now, I have seen him go as high as the 4th. I do have a lot of people that have said 5th round as well. It's going to be most likely a day 3 pick for Jude Bowry. So who is he and what does he bring to the table? Well, got functional size, functional bulk, large hands, and quality length at the position. Has experience at both left and right tackle, so you could move him anywhere. If you wanted to have him sit behind Mike McGlinchey for a little while, if you wanted to have him sit behind Garrett Bowles for a little while, that'd be okay as well. And might be the best moving inside, and that's funny enough. A lot of people have him moving to guard, and they think that that would be his best fit, would be at the guard position, but he thinks he can play tackle. Brugler said this about him actually moving inside to guard. Bowry is raw in key areas of playing tackle against skilled pass rushers, but he is a twitchy big man with length and core strength worth developing. A move inside to guard might be his best interest long term. And here's why I say that this is not a problem. It could be a perfect fit. Think about it. If you draft him as a tackle and you realize tackle's not quite his fit, who's a player that is immediately facing a contract year for the Broncos at the guard position? Ben Powers. So why not? Garrett Bowles, if he's not quite fit to go behind Bowles or McGlinchey at right or left tackle, move him inside to left guard. Let Ben Powers walk. He's most likely going to want more money anyway, and I don't know that the Broncos want to keep him. So if Ben Powers leaves, Bowry could be your immediate replacement for him, and he'd have a year in the system already. So I think this is actually a kind of foolproof plan, and you don't have to give up that much in draft capital. 5th round pick, I think it's a pretty good investment for a player that has a lot of upside. Speaking of draft picks, this should say target. That's my bad. Who is your favorite Broncos draft target? Because they haven't picked anybody yet. Mine right now is Eli Stowers. I would also say that I love Bryce Betcher, linebacker from Oregon, but obviously there's a lot of in-betweens there. So you let me know down in the comment section down below who your favorite draft target would be. Uh-oh, we got another trade with the Atlanta Falcons this time, who only have 5 draft picks. So they could always use more, and I think the Broncos could call them up Ian Cunningham over there in Atlanta and say, hey, we'll give you pick number 246, which is in the 7th round, and pick number 256 right before Mr. Irrelevant in order to get one of your 6th rounders this year, number 215. And I think Atlanta would do this as well. They get 2 picks. We get one in the 6th round, which we don't have. So who do the Broncos take in round 6? Some backup safety help, Bishop Fitzgerald from USC. This is mostly a play at our new defensive backs coach, Doug Belk, who came from USC, and we actually have a need for a backup safety. PJ Locke is gone. He's in Dallas now. So Bishop Fitzgerald fits that mold perfectly behind Brandon Jones and Talanoa Hufanga. 5'11", 205 pounds, 18th ranked safety. This is a guy that is just going to be a rotational player at best, in my opinion. Worth drafting for sure. I don't know that he'll ever get the full chance to start, especially if we keep Brandon Jones, but anything's possible, especially in Vance Joseph's defense. He's an excellent developer of talent. But 5'11", 205, insane ball skills, by the way, which is something the Broncos need. The ability to turn the ball over. Incredibly productive in his one season at USC. He loses leverage battles, though, against bigger wide receivers and tight ends. He's not as physical as he should be. He's more of a skill player than he is a physical player. So this would be behind Brandon Jones for sure. But take a look at his numbers last year. He had 5 picks. I mean, that's pretty damn good. 3 PBUs, 2.5 tackles for loss. So he can play a little at the line, but not nearly as much. 51 tackles. Only played in 10 games, though. As I told you, though, this is a nod to Doug Belk, who is now our defensive backs coach, who would probably look for some familiarity and a way to coach him back up at the next level. So I think this would be a totally fine pick in round 6 if you decided to go with Bishop Fitzgerald, who I'm very interested to see how he ends up panning out in this draft, especially if he decides to go with the Broncos. Mr. Irrelevant. Who is he? Get to know the name Haynes King. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think the Broncos could absolutely draft a player like Haynes King as Mr. Irrelevant. Quarterback from Georgia Tech. Whoa, Moose. They're going to draft a quarterback? Why? Mostly because they're already interviewing players like Evan Svoboda, who is a tight end but former quarterback for the University of Wyoming. God, I have nonstop gas bubbles coming up. I'm trying to hold it down. 6'5", 248, converted to tight end this last year, played quarterback in 2024. So it's Taysom Hill. That's what Taysom Hill did, right? Came in as quarterback, switched over to tight end, and Haynes King is better than Svoboda. In fact, probably could be a better version of Taysom Hill, in my opinion. So let's talk a little bit about Haynes King. Only Power 4 quarterback in 2025 with 5 games of 100-plus passing yards and 100-plus rushing yards. And he's a natural fit in the locker room. Players love him. Teammates follow him. He would be an excellent energy player. Physicality doesn't faze him. He's incredibly tough, craves physical, violent contact. I love Haynes King. And I think as a UDFA or as Mr. Irrelevant, he could turn into Taysom Hill immediately. Because that is who he exactly reminds me of, is Taysom Hill. And look, on any given day, any Sunday, Taysom Hill has the ability to go off. We've seen it time and time again in New Orleans, under Sean Payton, by the way, where Taysom Hill would just take over a game. Now, it's few and far between, but any Sunday, he has the ability to just take over. And last year, Haynes King, 953 rushing yards. I mean, if you wanted to bring him in on a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, line him up as a quarterback, line him up as a running back, line him up as a tight end. There are so many different athletic positions you can move as a joker player. And yes, I'm using the J word because that's Sean Payton's joker right there. He could turn him into a tight end, a quarterback, an athlete, doesn't matter. He can fit anywhere on the football field. Hell, probably give him some shots at fullback you could even do. There's so many things that you could do with Haynes King because he's coachable. He wants to be an NFL player. I think this would be the perfect fit for the Broncos. So do me a favor, if you love the draft, if you love the nonstop coverage, hit that thumbs up icon for me. That's all we've got on this mock draft. I think this was probably my best one to date. I like this one a lot. Even you are saying, producer JD, that you like this one a lot. It's probably my best one, not to toot my own horn, but that's what I got for you on this one. As always, Broncos country, a quick little mile-high salute to end today's show. Be cool. Sweet. Josh, why don't you want us to trade one of our fourth-round picks if it meant getting a third? Oh, well. I'm still confused why do you not want us to give up one of our fourth-round picks? How do you move up? Yeah, how do you trade up? I agree with you, QB Easy. How do you trade up? You can't just magically make a third rounder appear. I'm genuinely curious. I want to know because I give you guys trades. I tell you to trade a player, and you don't like that. I tell you to trade a pick, you don't like that. Like, how do you trade up? You can't just throw sevenths at players. Ricky's back. Ricky! What? Did somebody get traded? Who got traded? Really? Wow, look at that. Dontavian Wicks got traded from Green Bay. Yeah, but Josh, we're moving into the third, and we already have a fourth. So we still have a fourth round pick. We're giving up one of them to get a higher draft pick. I'm confused. Like, you just don't want to give it up, but I'm giving us better draft picks. What do you mean, Nitro Zeus? I'm just confused. I don't know, because like I give trades. I'm like, okay, that's the only way you can get higher draft picks. By the way, is trading. You have to trade. So you either trade picks
or trade a player.
Or you trade a player. I've given player trades. Everybody shits on me. I give pick trades. Everybody shits on me. So you just want us to stand pat, and then they complain that we stood pat.
Gotta. Thank you, Honey Bear. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steelers country. Correct. In order to get better picks, you got to give up picks. You can't just throw sevenths around. Nobody likes those. When you start thinking about draft picks as money, like think about them, it's literally like money. You are buying players. If that's how you start to look at the draft, right? Yeah. Look at it as currency. The amount of money that you'd be willing to give to someone to move up on, it's like buying your way into something. Mm-hmm. You've got to give up a little bit here to get more here. Oh, yeah, baby! James Linens! Shout out to you, James. Thank you for the $20 super chat, my friend.
Oh, wow. It came up quick this time.
It did. Look at that. That was quick.
Yeah.
Well done, Mock Moose. Thank you, my friend. Each player has an upside and works with the Broncos scheme. DB4L cannot wait for the draft. Okay, so you do know that there's no other way to do it. You still don't want to give up a fourth? So you just want to stay pan? That's fine. If that's your opinion. If you just want to stay put, that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm trying to get a better understanding. Like, because everybody is, and there's no perfect solution for anybody. Like, I give them trades of players, and they're like, no, don't trade that player. You can't trade that player. We're not trading that player. That's insane. Okay, let's move some picks. Oh, you can't move those picks. What picks can you move? Oh, I know you got to move picks. Okay.
I would much rather them get rid of those third and fourth round picks and move up, get another second.
Well, so here's my thoughts about the second. To move further into the second, you'd almost have to have a third or a player. You could you could move a fourth and a player to get back into the second.
Or maybe even just like an early third if Mike Washington is still there.
Well, I don't think you have to give up any player to get back into the third. You give up one of your fourths and a conditional fourth next year.
No, I don't see the Broncos having
two fourths is essentially a third.
They just have to move around some picks from this year and next year. That's it. They shouldn't have to move any players.
And if they decide to move a player, we'll talk about it.
They have plenty of asset or draft capital to move around still.
Yeah.
Especially with, is it 3 fourth-round picks or 2 fourths?
For this year, we have 2 fourths.
2 fourths, yeah. 2 fourths, a fifth, 3 sevenths?
We have 3 sevenths.
3 sevenths.
But 3 sevenths is essentially like an early sixth,
Yeah, you can. I mean, like what you just showed in the mock, you can trade up 2 of those.
You could trade 2 sevenths for 1 later round sixth.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But that's my point. Is like, if you want to get into the third, you got to part ways with a fourth. Either in this draft or the next one. Yeah. And you're supposed to get a conditional fourth for John Franklin Myers. So I'm just God, my watch is going ballistic because of the Dontavian Wicks trade. Dontavian Wicks to the Eagles. That's A.J. Brown watch for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what that. They're trying to combo as many picks together so that they can move A.J. Brown. Yeah. That's exactly what that is. Is that true, IAG, or are you just making that up? Because I know you've had a couple of
Let's see. I'm checking Twitter.
Oh, did he get traded to the 49ers? You're going to start to see, by the way, this week, you're going to see some players moved. I guarantee it. We're less than 2 weeks away now from the draft.
Yeah.
You're going to start to see some players move this year. Guaranteed. It's going on in Augusta. Yeah, Honey Bear, I know that you like that, but I don't think the Broncos want to part ways with their second rounder. That was just me doing some maneuvering in my head. There's a lot of different things that they could do. I think what they're going to do is move one of their fourths for sure, and either a player or another pick from 2027. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. 10 picks is not that big of a difference. I agree with that. I don't know what they're going to do. I know that they're going to try to get in the third. I know that for a fact. Kliss said it. George Paton hinted at it. Everybody's been talking about it. I bet you they try their ass off to get back into the third. Isaac Brown with a $20 super chat. Shout out to you, Isaac. Oh, Friday. Any big plans there, JD, this weekend, my friend? What are you going to be doing?
I think I'm going out tomorrow night.
Are you really?
Yeah,
nice.
think I am.
Gonna have some fun with the friends?
Yeah, I'm going to go out with my friends in Denton.
I just got back. I got back from my honeymoon, and I'm going to golf with Alper tomorrow, but I'm not going out tomorrow night. I'm going to be, as soon as I'm done golfing, I'm going right back home.
That's fair.
Thank you, Isaac. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. It does mean a lot. Everybody give a nice little round of applause to our friend Isaac.
Appreciate
all right,
it,
I think
Isaac.
that's all we got for today, Mr. JD. So let's log off here and jump back into the last things that we got to get covered. And Broncos country, I will see you guys next week. You know, I've got some cuts, so you'll see me on YouTube. But we'll be back on Monday with back in the office and making some more Broncos content. As always, Mile High Salute. Be cool.